So this is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she writes, I can only speak for myself, but as a Christian, forgiveness is a major part of my faith. And when I first saw this, I'm just like, okay, what did you do wrong, Marjorie? why do you need people to forgive you, right? Because when people start talking about forgiveness, you know something's up. And it's interesting because if you've been following her career and you know what's going on in MAGA land in USA, there's basically a civil war going on, and you have to decide, do I tie myself to Donald Trump or not? Listen to what she has to say here.
A situation where you and President Trump can make up, and if not, do you think you have a future in the GOP?
Well, I certainly hope that we can make up. And there's, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm a Christian, and one of the most important parts of our faith is forgiveness, and that's something I'm committed to. That's why I can easily come on your show that is watched all over the world, and I can say things I'm sorry for, and I can try to set an example of how I think we should move forward as Americans. And so, of course, on my end, I believe in that, and I certainly hope to see that happen.
Okay, so I want to be clear. I got no problem with the whole concept of forgiveness, but this particular situation is so strange because, again, Trump is like the captain of the Titanic, taking us right into the iceberg, and she was the main cheerleaders of said thing. And then I guess now we're waking up saying, oh my God, we're all going down the Titanic. Time to get out, right? I'm sorry, I cheered on the Titanic. And then you got Laura Loomer, which is one of the other MAGA people, and this is why it's like a Civil War thing, that she's attacking MTG nonstop now. She says, Greene is fraudulently promoting herself as a Trump-endorsed candidate. I'm going to send this to the Trump legal team. Oh, wow. So they can send her a cease and desist. What the heck? Take this off your website, MTG. Trump condemned you and said you're a traitor. Stop grifting off his name. Susie Wiles. What the heck is going on? This is crazy. Okay, so now I guess we have to sue other MAGA people. MAGA suing MAGA here. If you're claiming that Trump is still on your side, and now we're talking about forgiveness. It really is a clown show, guys. It really is. And then you got this kind of stuff. Trump is now attacking various state senators in Indiana. Very disappointed in Indiana State Senate Republicans led by Rhino Senators Ron Bray and Greg Good, blah, 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 blah. And effectively what this all ends up being is, if you tie your name to Trump, right, if you're going to just go along with him, do you think you can win elections that way? Essentially cheering on the Titanic, is that an effective strategy? Some are people, it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, are jumping off ship, but it just comes across really disingenuous when you've been one of the main cheerleaders, right? Thomas Massey, so this is a representative, and yes, it is a clown show. This from Kentucky Republican, says he predicts a deluge of House Republicans will vote to release the Epstein files. And if you've been following the story, basically, Mike Johnson recently wanted to have a vote that was a unanimous vote. So basically what that would do is the Congress would, pass the opening of the files or not, but each member wouldn't have to record their vote individually. And so essentially the Democrats are like, no, we want to vote on this, but do it so that every person has to decide individually and go on the record, yes or no, should release the files. Massey's thinking there's going to be a bunch of Republicans that go ahead and open it. And this is really going to be a crazy vote. I can't, predict the outcome of this one. I really don't know. And I think right now that you got a lot of horse trading going on. You have a lot of people, I guess you could say, finding their Jesus moment, right? I'm going to start asking for forgiveness. And then you have to decide, like, who do you want to tie your career to? My particular opinion on this stuff is it should be an easy choice. If there's some sort of criminal activity and there's some sort of evidence or files of criminal activity, let's see that. I'm not in these things myself, so I got nothing to worry about, and most people probably aren't. But I think what's going on is there is some wrangling going on who's in it, and I'm sure some people will be affected, and the people who are in it the most probably have the most to lose from said thing. You and I, guys, we're not in these things, so we don't care in terms of damage to us, but these people are protecting, right? You guys know, those criminals essentially. What's going on here? Representative Ro Khanna, a Democrat of California, says President Trump losing his MAGA base over Epstein files. Could be. Okay, so what else is Marjorie Taylor Greene saying? She says Wrong. Jesus told his disciples, if you love me, you will obey my commands. Jesus commands us to forgive one another and even ties our own forgiveness to our willingness to forgive, as Jesus said in the Lord's Prayer. As he was being nailed to the cross, Jesus said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Okay, and then more and more about Jesus. She goes on at the bottom here. Nothing has changed about me except I refuse to continue to be part of the evil, toxic insanity of the political industrial complex that is ripping our country apart, etc. I'm telling you guys, when you're going on about forgiveness and now you're talking about Jesus and stuff like that, I mean, okay, what'd you do wrong? I mean, I just don't know how to put it. And I mean, and then the crazy thing about it is the people who are attacking MTG the most is actually their own people here. And this is Laura Loomer. I was just looking through her stuff. I'm not going to read every single one of these things, but it's like attack after attack after attack on MTG, right? Winning Publisher was founded by Donald J. Trump and Sergio Gore. So I guess they're saying that your book, even MTG, is tied to the Trump people. I mean, if you're trying to separate yourself, it's hard to do that when you wrote a book related to these people. Now it's saying, of course she is a member of the woke right, because now people are calling it. It's just like nonstop attacks. The thing with Laura Loomer, and there's like more, it's like a whole bunch of stuff. The thing with Laura Loomer, one thing she's good at, and I'm not a fan of hers, but I'll just say what she's good at, is digging up dirt on people. So it's going to get really ugly. I'll just say that. It's going to get really ugly. Should we vote on these things or not? What do you think, Senator?
Measure passes the House. Will it get a vote in the Senate?
It'll come to the Senate. We'll take a look at it. If it passes the House, we'll see what it says. And we all want accountability and transparency. But to me, this is not about truth. It's not about justice. This is about an attempt by the Democrats to make President Trump a lame duck president. And I'm not going to aid and abet them in their efforts to do that.
But you don't commit to a vote, Senator? You don't commit to holding a vote if the Epstein measure passes in the House? Just very quickly. We're almost out of time.
Well, but what I've said and what Senate Leader Thune has said is we'll look at it, we'll look at what's come over. I don't even know that it's going to pass the House. The Senate will make a decision, we'll have a discussion about it and make a decision from there.
I don't get the upside on this one, honestly. Like, the upside is I make Trump happy if we don't vote on said thing. Is that the upside? Or are you all guys know what's in this stuff and you know which donors you're protecting? I really don't know. I find it really strange. But this is who the Republicans are these days.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually, I never had a conversation at all with the president about running for Senate or running for Georgia. And those were decisions I came to on my own, that I don't want to have anything to do with the Senate. I think the past 2 months of the government shutdown should have shown America exactly why I would never want to be there. I think it's a very broken institution that serves the uniparty and doesn't serve the American people and how they vote. And I decided that I didn't want to run for governor this cycle either. I very much want to do the job that I'm in. Everyone else says I'm running for something, but all I want to do is serve Georgia's 14th district, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
So he said it pretty.
So this is really strange because it was widely reported before that she was interested in these things. You scroll down here, Laura Loomer's on the attack. Like, it's really ugly. Laura Loomer's like, okay, MTG is such a liar. Let's break down the tweet to prove and expose all of Marjorie Taylor Greene's lies. She did, in fact, ask Trump if he would endorse her. He didn't commit to it and said he wanted to see polling. The polling was sent to him and showed her losing bigly if she were to run, because she's the only Republican in Georgia to underperform Trump by 5 points. Check the numbers, it's true. Trump then asked his executive assistant, Natalie Harp, to send MTG the poll, so he did. Trump wasn't about to endorse MTG when the polling was abysmal, and then there's more on this stuff. And they're talking about White House logs. This matters too, because MTG is going to claim that she never called Trump. Let's see what Loomer has to say. Loomer says then, she said she hasn't called him and that the White House logs prove it. The president's personal cell phone isn't part of the White House logs. Okay. She knows this and she's pretending like she doesn't have his cell phone when we all have seen pics of her on the floor of the House telling the other members she's on the phone with Trump. Trump always uses his cell phone or his staffer's cell phones to call members of Congress. Sometimes Natalie calls, sometimes Sergio. Gore calls, sometimes others call on the cell phone. How many lies is this traitor to tell? Huh. I always told you this, B, was the turn on Trump. This is pretty interesting. Like when you actually, so, you know, again, I'm not a fan of Loomer, but, yeah, she's really good at digging up dirt. And these kind of stuff where she's, you know, saying how Trump does phone calls is actually pretty interesting. Let's see what more they got it going on here.
Pretty explicitly. Are you saying he's lying? Or did he at least get that message to somebody on your political team instead?
I'm not sure. But I don't. That is untrue. What he said. I don't know if he's being fed wrong information. I honestly have no idea in that area. But it is absolutely factually not true. Nor have I called him, and White House logs would prove that. His own cell phone records would prove it. I have not been calling the president, but I did post messages that I had sent to him, and that was to, like, protect, you know, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released.
So there you have it. The situation right now in the USA is this big high school drama. Who is talking to who, who's friends with who, and might as well throw in, what is she wearing, right? It really feels like this high school cliquey stuff. That's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.